All right, guys, for the warm-up, it says to divide using synthetic division, and there's a couple of things that I want to reiterate about synthetic division. And the first is that synthetic division is a great tool. That's a great tool to help us divide, but it has its limitations. Synthetic division only works well whenever we have a divisor. I'm sorry, right here. This is the divisor. Let me erase that. This is my divisor where the Lie coefficient is an understood 1. So you see that this is 1x minus 1. Synthetic division works really well when it's this type of scenario. And so I know y'all know this from now. To do synthetic division, you put a half box and you draw a line. What goes in the half box for this problem? Positive one, right? You always think the opposite. And so then you put your coefficients down. Now, most of y'all remember this from yesterday. Your coefficients would be 1, but notice there's no degree 4, no degree 3. There is a degree 2. There's no degree 1, and then there's 1 that's not. So you have to include those placeholders when there's not a number there. Be careful, because on the test I will do a problem that's similar to this, right, where there's some missing degrees, so you got to fill those in. Once you've got that, that's the hard part. Just drop down the first number, and it's a 2 operations. Multiply, so 1 times 1, 1, and add. 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 times 1 is 3, 0 plus 3 is 3, 3 times 1 is 3, and this leaves a remainder of 2. Now, this is not a question for this problem. However, this is a great time for me to review. How would I know that 1 is not an answer because of me doing synthetic division? Because the remainder. That's right. Yeah, that's your dead giveaway. So I know that 1's not an answer. Even more so, I don't ask this, but since this was a degree 5, how many answers will I end up with? You'd end up with 5. You'd end up with 5. But that's not what this problem was asking for. It just wants you to divide. So remember, whenever you do synthetic division, that's called a depressed polynomial. It's always 1 degree less. So since you start with a degree 5, 1 degree less would be a degree 4. So you'd have 1x to the 4th plus 1x cubed plus 1x squared plus 3x plus 3 with a remainder of 2. And that would be your answer. I'm going to pause the video. Your essential question for today is, how do we divide polynomials by long division? And again, one of the applications of long divisions is it's used in Calc 2 to help you find indefinite and definite integrals. So let me give you an example right off the bat, and I'm going to move this out of the way so you can see it better. Let me move this down. Okay, all right, so just by looking at it, it looks harmless enough. It almost looks like the warm-up, but there's one very different thing that's important, and look at the divisor. Yeah, let me move this out of the way so I can see it better. All right, so yeah, if you look at the divisor that's right here, this is dividing by 4x plus 1. And the reason why I can't do synthetic division of this or easily is because of that pesky little 4 right there. In order for me to do synthetic division, my Lie coefficient of my divisor has to be 1. Now, it is true. I could, if I wanted to get rid of this 4, I could divide this by 4, right? Because 4 divided by 4 is what? 1. But remember in math, whatever you do to one side, you got to do to the other. So if I divide this by 4, wouldn't I also have to divide all this by 4 also? And that's where it gets pesky, because I wouldn't want to take 25 divided by 4. That would give me a decimal, and I do not want to do that whatsoever. So unfortunately, synthetic division does not work well here. So we have to do long division. And it's just like in elementary school, where this is my divisor. So here's how you set it up. You set up 4x plus 1. And then you would divide into, and I'm going to put it like that, just divide into 20x cubed plus 25x squared minus 7x minus 8. And so that's literally like you set up, just like if you had set up like 4 divided into 100. That's how you're literally going to set up. So it's just like elementary school, it's just got letters in there now. All right, so it's all about dividing. So if you want to underline the 20, you can, and underline the 4, you can. What would be 20 divided by 4? 5. So put a 5 right here. And then notice that you got x cubed, and it's got an x. So what would you multiply an x by to get an x cubed? That's right, x squared. Okay, and it all goes back to the idea of depressed polynomials. Since this is a degree of 3, you know your depressed polynomial will be a degree of 2. But okay, so that's great. So now let's multiply. So 4x times 5x squared is 20x cubed, and that should not be a surprise to you. You want these two numbers to match up. And then you got to remember, though, there's this plus 1 right here. So do 5x squared times 1. So what do you get there? Positive 5x squared. That's great. That's good. So it's just dividing and multiplying. Now, here's what you probably don't remember from elementary school, is that at this stage of the game, something very important happens with the algebra, is that you have to change those signs. And the reason why that's important is because if you notice, if I didn't change my signs, those two 20s would not cross out. But we need them to cross out. So now that I've changed the signs, will these two 20s cross out? Yeah, so that's good. So that's went away. Now just bring everything down. So 25 minus 5 is going to be 20x squared, and then bring down everything else. And then just repeat the process over again now. So underline this 20 here. So again, 20x squared divided by 4x would be 5x. And then just multiply. So 5x times 4x is 20x squared. And then 5x times 1 would be positive 5x. If you make a mistake on the test, it's probably going to be right here, because what do I need to do now? Change my signs. So change these signs. And you see what I do? I put them in parentheses to show you that I changed them. And then if these don't cross out, that means you didn't change your signs. But they do. See, they're both positive and negative. That crosses out. And then negative 7 minus 5, that would be negative 12x minus 8. And then just repeat the process again. So what would be negative 12x divided by a positive 4x? Negative 3x. And then just multiply. So negative 3x times 4, negative 12x, negative 3x times 1, negative 3x. Oh, wait, did I put an x there by mistake? Yeah, I did. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so that would be negative 3 times 1, so that would be negative 3. And then I'm going to change my signs one more time. So this will be positive, this will be positive. That crosses out. And then negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. And guess what that is right there? That's it, your remainder. And that's it. So that is my answer right there. So long division isn't really harder, but there is more opportune places to make a mistake, like if you forget your sign or you mess up. All right, let me pause. And again, on the test, you're only going to have one of these problems, so don't flip out too much. All right, so here's the last one we'll do. We got 4x cubed minus 25x squared plus 33x minus 14 is equal to, I'm sorry, not equal to, is divided by 4x minus 5. All right, and so again, and it'll say on the test, it won't be a surprise. It will clearly say on the test, divide with long division. So you'll know that you need to do long division for it. So that's not a surprise. And it'll also tell you when to divide by synthetic division. So that's not a surprise either. So once you see this problem on the test, go ahead and set it up. So it would look like this. So just put 4x minus 5 divided into 4x cubed minus 25x squared plus 33x minus 14. And then we're just going to go from here. All right, so let's try it out. All right, Larry, what do you think? Let me underline it for you so you can see. You got 4x cubed divided by 4x, so what's going to go up here? Yes, x squared. If you want to put a 1 there, you can. Don't have to. And so x squared times 4x is 4x cubed. X squared times negative 5 is negative 5x squared. That's perfect. All right, Andrew, what's crucial at this step? What do I have to do? You got it. You got to change those signs, and that crosses out. And then this goes away, and then this would be a negative 20x squared. And then just bring everything else down, and that works out great. All right, Ivani, what do you think? Negative 20x squared divided by positive 4x. What would that be? Yep, negative 5, and let me put a negative 5x, right? So negative 5x times 4x would be negative 20x squared. Negative 5x times negative 5 would be positive 25x. And then just to ring in with what Andrew said a second ago, this is my crucial step. Change my signs. And then that crosses out. And then I get 33 minus 25. That's going to give me 8, no, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8x. 8x minus 14. And then just one more time. 8x divided by 4x would just be 2. And so then 2 times 4x is 8x. And then 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Crucial step, change your signs. That crosses out. And then you're going to get a remainder of negative 4. And that would be your answer for